Your sleep sucks and you want to know how to fix it. On top of that, we know that if you're not sleeping enough, you're likely not growing skeletal muscle the best you can be, and you're likely going to have a harder time losing fat, or you're going to gain fat at a faster rate. And if you needed more, on top of that, it aggressively depletes willpower, meaning you're less likely to stick to the plan and you're more likely to overeat. So how can we fix it? I have 8 tips for you here that can hopefully improve your sleep meaningfully so that you can go on to be your most jacked self. These are not exactly in order because it's hard to quantify, but they're roughly in order to the best of our ability that we could put them. First, larger doses of caffeine should likely be cut off 13 hours before sleep, and moderate to small doses should be cut off 9 to 11 hours before sleep. Even if you are that person that will tell me, oh, I can have coffee any time of the day and still fall asleep immediately. That tells me 2 things. You're not recovered and your sleep sucks, and that your sleep quality still sucks in this regard. Even if you're able to fall asleep with caffeine in your system, your sleep quality is degraded, and we know this from many studies at this point. So large to moderate doses, 13 hours before you go to bed should be the cutoff. Small to up to moderate doses, 9 to 11 hours should be the cutoff before you go to sleep. This is going to have a large effect on your sleep. Caffeine is a drug that has awesome effects and negative side effects, and you should use it responsibly. Next is going to be exercise. Resistance training and aerobic exercise, particularly not close to bed, are shown to aggressively increase our onset of sleep and our sleep quality, on top of just being amazing for your overall health and just about everything in general. So if you're not exercising, you're kind of missing the forest for the trees here. Consider using some of these tips to sleep better, and then consider using that newfound energy to get into the gym and be your most jacked self. Next is going to be having a set wake time. The time you go to sleep is a little bit less important, so long that it's not drastically changing like 8 p.m. to midnight, but a set wake time does wonders to actually set your circadian rhythm and kind of help keep you regular in that sleep cycle. So I highly recommend using an alarm, getting a set wake time, and then eventually your body will start to have a set circadian rhythm for that, and it'll kind of help you get your day started. This also helps you become tired at the appropriate times, which is very useful. Blue light sucks for sleep, but I'm going to be the first person to tell you that I'm going to game. Like, gaming is one of the ways that I decompress and de-stress, and that's great for sleep. But what I will say is if you can use blue light blocking glasses or the blue light filter on your phone, or cutting off blue light a little bit before you go to bed, it can improve sleep if you're someone that tends to struggle. I don't know about you, but I'm playing RuneScape before I go to bed tonight because that makes me feel good and it makes me relax. And that's a huge part of sleep. So don't just think you have to give up everything fun. Everything's a trade-off. That kind of brings us to this point, which is have relaxing activities scheduled towards the end of your day. Something I like to do is sit down and hang out with my wife, where she reads and I'll play a little bit of video games together, and we're kind of cuddled up. It gets you nice and relaxed and gets you primed to go to sleep. Don't play Call of Duty right before sleep where you're like throwing the controller through the remote, swearing at your mom because you're still in your mom's basement, text messaging Dr. Oz about how you're going to scam the next person. Those just aren't very conducive to sleep. Having a cold, dark room is going to be very, very conducive to sleep. If you haven't had room blackening curtains or other things that make it pitch black at night and you don't sleep with a cold room, try those 2 things. It may change your life. Both of these things are shown to increase the onset of sleep as well as sleep quality. Next is going to be nutrition, and this has a few different things to think about. Experiment with different amounts of fluid intakes throughout the day, and especially as you get close to night, so that you might not have to get up throughout the middle of the night to use the restroom. For some people, this is unavoidable, but for some people, it is avoidable, and you should kind of play around with that. Second, some people tend to sleep better with a little bit of food in their stomach, and some people tend to sleep a little bit better with less food in their stomach. See which of these more relates to you and kind of pair your nutrition with what works best for you. Personally, I like a little bit of food in my stomach before I go to sleep, so oftentimes I'll put a bowl of cereal right at the end of my night just because I really enjoy it, and it gets just a little bit of something on my stomach. If you're in bed and you're not that tired and you're not able to fall asleep, let's say after 20 minutes, consider not wasting time in bed. Keep that area mentally primed for sleep. Go to a different area of the house, keep it dark, and do something relaxing. You don't want to do something stimulating here, but if you're someone that reading kind of puts them to sleep, go in the other room, read in low light, do something in low light until you start to feel yourself kind of nod off, and then go back to bed. So for some people this doesn't work, but for most people, keeping the bedroom for sleep and extracurricular activities is a really, really awesome option. And if you're not falling asleep quickly, consider leaving and doing something low stimulus. These are my top tips for how to improve your sleep. I implement these with quite a lot of my clients when they're struggling to stick to a plan, because this is kind of foundational to muscle growth and fat loss. Try these out. Let me know if they help. And don't forget to send angry letters to Dr. Oz.